All right, we're recording. Okay, so I have set up another repository on the TAMUSA ACM account. I'll send this link out in the chat window here in Zoom. All right. So does everyone have Visual Studio Code or some other text editor installed on their computer already that can translate HTML most specifically? Adam will work. I recommend Video Studio Code just because you have a built-in terminal and stuff in there, but Adam will certainly work. Do you guys already have Git installed as well? Not GitHub, but Git, the actual service on your computer. If not, there's a link right here for downloading both Visual Studio Code and Git. Cool. Oh, that didn't work out well. Gotta erase those. I'm gonna have to modify this one bit. Once you have those stuff up and running, you just, if you click on the participants window under the video, and in there, or I think you can raise your hand. I know your bandwidth kind of sucks, Dan, so. Trying to make sure that you're tracking everything. All right. All right, good. Okay, so if you guys can open up a terminal window, all right, and then CD into whatever, whether you want to do it on your desktop or just on the drive, wherever you want to go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to clone the repository that we have right here. So we're going to take this line. So Git Clone, and then this repository, and you're just going to paste that into terminal in the directory that you want it to be, and go ahead and press return, and it will clone that repository right where you want it, hopefully. So once you get a clone, go ahead and CD to that folder. I don't think you need to have the .git at the end, but that's the folder that it created. We just need to be at that in that folder. And then all you have to do is type code and a period, and your Visual Studio Code should open automatically with that repository open. We'll see what happens. I know on my Mac I had to add a couple lines into Visual Studio Code to make that shortcut actually work, but if not, it's not a big deal. Let me know when you guys actually, let me belay that order. Don't open up code, Visual Studio Code quite yet. Before you open it up, if you could open up the file manager and find that GitHub Pages HTML CSS workshop folder, we need to rename that first to make all of this stuff work correctly. And so once you find that folder in your Explorer, you're going to use this, you're going to rename it to this. And your GitHub username is just, so mine is lfbox7.github.io. So whatever your GitHub login is, this is going to be important because this is the repository name that is needed to run GitHub Pages. Just give me a heads up when Jesse and Dan, when you guys have both found the folder, rename the folder, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I'm just a little slow on the uptake because I'm, yeah.
We're in no rush.
Okay, I think I got it.
So you get the folder renamed.
Yeah, under setting.
Now, once you get that done too, Dan, go to your GitHub account and create a new repository with that same name. So whatever your username is, .github.io.
Where is the none to master? I'm looking in the settings. I don't see on the GitHub website.
Yeah, in your repository. Did you create the repository already?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I went to settings.
Yeah, and you scroll down till you find GitHub Pages. It's.
Oh, okay. That was it. Okay.
All right.
Where's the page? Oh, okay, I found it again.
What's that?
Under the pages option, where is the master to
Okay.
none? I see. I'm at the GitHub Pages part. I just don't see masters to none.
So it says source here, none.
Yeah, it doesn't show that. Can I share mine?
Sure. Give me 1 second. I have to give you some powers. Sure, go ahead.
Screen share. Can you see it?
Oh, okay. That's all right. It says that you already published that way.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna get off then. Okay.
That's
Where
fine.
is it?
Yeah, we know.
Stop share. So I'm fine. Oh, I have the ability to admit people. I'm going to not do that.
That's all right. It's just potato. So I'm going to go back up over here. Go back to code. All right. Now, if we can go into our terminal, or we can actually, let's just do it this way. Let's open up VSC, so Visual Studio Code. Let me reshare, jump over here to code. And all you're going to do is file, and then we're going to open. And then we just need to, why would you do that to me? Why can't I get down? There we go. We just need to find wherever your folder is, wherever you just stored the repo, and navigate there. And then you can just open up the index file. You able to open it up? Excellent. Dan, you good?
There's always that little lag.
Yeah. All right, good. So I'll send this link again, Potato. So Maria, there's a link right there. Oh. All right. Got this. All right. So, sure. You can use Sublime. The big things are going to be cloning the repository. And then once you clone that repository, is renaming the folder that repository got cloned to. And you're going to rename it whatever your GitHub username is, .github.io. All right. So now let me go back over to share again. Go back to Visual Studio Code. All right. So in Visual Studio Code, hopefully you guys see the folder with the files from the repository in there. Yes, thumbs up. You see him, Jesse? No. So up in, go to file and then navigate to the folder that
Yeah,
you just
I got
removed.
it. I had to open the folder with
Oh,
some
okay.
other.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a couple things here. You should hopefully have a source control button here, the third one down. Kind of looks like the Git control logo. Do you have that on your, okay, go ahead and click that. All right, we may or may not have any changes yet, but that's okay. So we're gonna go to the ellipsis on top of the source control here. And the first thing we're gonna do is click on Stage All Changes. I don't have any changes, so it's just kind of doing whatever. And then second, I'm gonna hit the ellipsis again, and then I'm gonna commit all. And it may or may not have any changes for you yet, but that's okay. We just want to get it all prepared. And then we're going to hit the ellipsis for a third time, and we're going to now select push to, and you're going to click on add a new remote when that window pops up. And the first thing it's going to be is just you're going to click on the name. You can call it origin, master, something that you can just readily remember. Or head is another one that Git uses. And then it's going to ask for the URL. So your URL is going to be, let me see if I can copy this, probably not, but I'm going to HTTPS github.com. So your repository name, so mine is lfbox7. And then so that URL that you should be typing in there should look something similar to this, except for instead of my username, it'll be your username in there twice. And then once that's done, you can navigate to your repository and to that repository's name, and hopefully we'll have some of those things up in there. Hey, Jesse.
I got an error. It says failed to push some refs, and it shows that it's missing a file and directory. And it's a little bit confusing to me because I don't know how to read these debug messages. Share again? Okay.
Yeah.
Share. Okay, there it is. Let me see if I could extend it.
Go up and do the push to. Okay. So we're going to the start one. Yep. Let's see. I'm trying to. Okay, that's fine. So cancel. So all it needs is, it just wants to update. So go back to the ellipsis. And we're going to pull from to the third one down. And then start.
Branch. So do I look over here for branches?
Yeah, it just should be master.
Master, okay.
Oops.
Pick one. And then enter, right? Enter.
Yes, hopefully.
Okay. Branch, okay. Yeah, I don't know. The branch is master default.
Go back over. Let's go. I'm going to click on sync, or actually go in. Yeah, sync, and let's see if we can't sync it. Okay. Sure, that's fine.
Would you like the code to periodically?
Yes, it's fine.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, I'll say yes next time.
And then go ahead and click on the ellipsis again. And let's see if we can do pull from again.
That one, right?
I'm sorry. You just, click on start and see what happens. Master and see if. It doesn't matter, I don't know. It's a fault. Nothing's in.
Okay.
You know, return it.
Maybe I need to start all over, right?
No, it's just go. Let's go and try to push it again. See if we push to.
Push to?
Yeah. And then start. Yeah.
When I cloned it, I moved it using the Explorer and renamed it using Explorer. So that could be why.
Okay, let's
So
go to your Windows Explorer.
Okay. Right here on my desktop.
Yeah, go ahead and open it up. Click on the Git file, the Git folder. First one up. Config. Open with text, just text. Oh, okay. Start master.
This is advanced stuff.
Well, yeah, hold on. Give me 1 second to. I have this problem. Let me just look and see what my config looks like. All right, so what we want to do for you is we want to get rid of share that text file again.
Share the text file?
Yep.
This one? Or another one?
Yeah, I just,
Sorry.
Oop. Oh, my stuff got rearranged. All right. So what I want you to do is let's take line 15.
Okay.
And let's cut that and paste it over line 9. All right, and we're going to get rid of 14, 15, 16. Just delete those out. Go ahead and save. And let's go back to our push to. And go ahead and click. Oh, okay. Cancel. Let's go ahead and pull from, hopefully. Go ahead and on that. There we go. Master. Okay. Cancel.
Just
Let's push again and see if it'll push. Just the frustrating parts of, okay, let's cancel that. Let's go.
before. I know we did a commit all at one
Yeah, the
point.
commit's already there. So
Okay.
what we're just worried about is pushing what we have already up there.
The only thing I did different from your instructions was I moved it from,
Right. Yeah, but we changed it now. So that's now we just have a weird, we haven't committed before something. So um,
and I guess Dan isn't going through this. I don't mind just watching at this point. It would be cool.
let's go back to the pull again. And then let's try from head instead. Pull from. Give,
Is my URL wrong? That could be it. It's right here. This is where I copied it from.
So that's not right. All right, well, let's do this. Let's go to the files. So that first icon over here on the left on Visual Studio Code.
On the left. Okay.
Yep. And let's click on index. Yep. All right, so all I want you to do is somewhere in there, let's type a return.
Return?
Yeah.
I didn't know HTML had return, do I?
Or enter, whatever your keyboard says. Just
okay, gotcha.
hard return.
Okay.
Okay, now let's go over, let's stage again. Stage all changes. Okay, let's commit.
Commit all?
Yep. And like initial commit is a good one, or test will work. All right, and let's go and push from, or push to, I mean, sorry. Okay, let's cancel. Let's try again with the pull. Pull from. Let's do the rebase too. Second one down. What is merge conflicts? Okay, go to the ellipsis again. Let's, I don't think there are any merges here. Let's sync. Yes, sure. What? Cancel. How are we not in a branch? All right, so let's go back. Let's just go push on the ellipsis and then push. Just regular push.
Please check out a branch to push to a remote. Branch? What are you talking about?
No, we'll go back to VSC and hover over the hover over that message. Here.
Again, right? What was it? Push or sync?
All changes pop. Okay, let's see ellipsis and then click on checkout 2.
Check out.
Yeah, it's like in the second section in the ellipsis.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah, okay, so let's do remote branch. This master. So that second one from the bottom. You need to resolve your conflict index first. Current index. Cancel. Cancel that one.
It's just being really, really hard.
This is Git. Do the ellipsis again and try. Let's go to publish the branch. You're not currently on a branch. Well, if I'm not currently on a branch, I'm not. Where am I?
Oh man. How to get on a branch? I don't know. Oh my gosh.
On the index where it's merge changes, what's the plus? If you hover over the plus and over the, what are those?
I pushed the plus and then this happened.
Keep their version? Yeah, keep their version, I guess.
Okay, it's empty.
It doesn't matter. So and then let's try to push again.
Just regular push?
Push 2.
Push 2. Please check out a branch to push to a remote. And you said hover over this one and nothing happens.
Yeah, the gears. What are the gears?
Gears. Manage extension.
Where are we?
And it won't wait. See what happened. I hit that. Oh, the extension is Git. Okay, built in.
Yeah, okay, that's all that is.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah, the only thing I did different was I moved it from.
Yeah.
Um,
That shouldn't have mattered any, because it's not.
God, Jesse Blogger dot. Is there a space in there or something? No. Jesse Blogger dot GitHub. Maybe there's a space. I don't know.
Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Let's go over to your repository here on GitHub. All right. I want you to click on the green button that says clone or download. Copy. Yep. And then let's go to your terminal window. You're in desktop right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually in the, what the heck? I am in an old folder that doesn't even exist anymore to me.
Okay. CD to your desktop.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. So Git clone. Oh, you need that beforehand. So Git clone and then paste. Okay, so go ahead and kill your folder.
Delete it?
Yeah.
Delete. Okay, I'm going to do that. Deleted. And then Git clone that.
Yeah. All right. So it should be back again. There we go. Okay. That's fine.
And then where is the index? The index is gone.
They're not there, but we'll fix that in 1 second. All right, so what I want you to do now is let's go ahead and go over the Visual Studio Code. Okay. And you just open the README and type in a second line in there and just type something to change the file. Okay. All right, so let's go over to the Git button, do our ellipsis. Yeah. Commit all. Yes, that's fine. Then we're going to, oh yeah, initial commit or something like that. Always wants a message. Then push to. Perfect. Excellent. All right.
So it worked. You know what? It was that I moved it. So you
Yeah.
can't, that's the
Yeah,
lesson there. You can't move it.
I think you lost the original Git folder and that messed everything up.
Okay. So now we know, or I know at least. Okay, I'll stop sharing. We can move on. And you could probably time lapse this or something. I don't know.
All right. So now if you could just go back, Jesse, and clone the other repository and just drag and drop everything from the folder that's cloned into your folder that you just cloned.
Easy peasy. Okay.
Okay. And then everything will be there and everything will be good and it'll be like nothing changed.
Yes.
Dan, Maria, everyone good at what you're doing? Were you able to clone and make everything sync up with your new GitHub repository? Nope. Oh, you lost it again? Then we just... All right. So I think this would probably be the easiest thing to do is I know Maria, didn't you have like 3 accounts, Maria, when we were at the hackathon? Can I make a 4th? All right, that's fine. Hey, Dan, if you go to the repository you just built with your username, github.io, and clone that one to your desktop or wherever you want it to be, and then sync, and then push back up to GitHub the way that Jesse just did, I think that'll work for everything. You were able to drag everything over, Jesse?
It is all A-OK. So
Okay.
yes.
So you can do another push too, and it'll populate everything too.
Yeah, it did. I loved it.
Oh,
It was the
excellent.
first time I ever did that on a IDE.
Yeah, see, everyone's like, hey, you gotta know all the terminal stuff. Every IDE knows how to do this. If you want to share your screen too, Dan, because made you co-host, so if you're having trouble and you want to get a hand, easy peasy for us. Jesse knows exactly what to do now. He can walk you through it. Nothing like teaching to learn how to do stuff correctly, right? If you can show someone else how to do it, then you know how to do it yourself. Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. Yeah, I know, as you saw, Jesse was having some troubles there, so. You doing all right, Maria? Okay. All right, so while Dan's working out there, I'm going to come over. Let me. We got more spam text messages. Yay. Where am I? Share my screen again. All right. So I'm back in the actual workshop page on the ACM repositories. All right. So there's a couple resources that I use to go through this. The links are right here. First one's W3 Schools. It basically has like everything you want to know about the web. We have, all kinds of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, SQL, Python. I think we get into React, Angular, and a Flask, everything that you want to know, databases, pretty much all on here. It's all for free. So if you want to take some time to learn some extra stuff, it's there. All right. Now, I am not a Chrome user, nor a Safari user, nor a Edge user. I am a old school Firefox user. And of course, they were developed by Mozilla, and they came out of the old Netscape days. If you didn't know that, the first real cool browser back before some of you guys were born, but that's all right. But Mozilla itself has a ton of documents on here. They're, of course, the ones that actually operate all of JavaScript. They're the ones that came up with it back in the day when they were still Netscape. But they have a ton of resources on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then some other stuff on HTTP, working with graphics, and also on MathML. Let me see. So I utilized the school's brand colors. So this is a page where you can actually find where all the colors are that we are authorized for use on TAMUSA stuff. I did this just because the template that I used to build this page originally was some crazy teal color, and I figured, hey, let's make it the Madla maroon so it looks kind of cool for everyone else. Kind of give us some school spirit. But they're all in our CSS already. And then last thing that we're going to be using today is Bootstrap 4. This is not to be confused with Bootstrap from some programs. This is actually Twitter's HTML and CSS and jQuery frameworks that make your pages look pretty once you get them published. All right. So there's three things that we're going to be talking about today in terms of the core pieces of the web. And those are first HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML, hypertext markup language. It's basically the building blocks of the web. And it's broken up into what they call tags. All right, so HTML always has a starting tag and an ending tag. With the exception of 2 or 3 unique tags, you're always going to have an opening and closing tag. All right, and on the README file here in the repository, I have a couple of the tags that we're going to be using. in our exercise today. The first one, just for you guys to understand, is the comments. So comments, unlike in Java or JavaScript or any other, C++, whatever, usually have the two backslashes. But in HTML, we need to have the angle bracket, an exclamation point, and two dashes to have an opening tag for a comment. It has to be closed by two dashes and another angle bracket to close it out. So much like when you are, typing in a regular programming language and you have that backslash and say a asterisk to kind of open a comment sometimes, and you want to go multiple lines, and then you have a asterisk and another backslash to close it out. Kind of works the same way in the HTML. All right. Now, when we talk about commenting in CSS, we use the backslash and the asterisk and the backslash to close out our two comments. I can't remember if you can use the double backslash. Maybe we'll test it out and we'll see how it goes. All right. So if you guys can kind of navigate to your index page in your Visual Studio Code, I'm just going to navigate right here because it's right here. All right. So what you have is, I gave you guys a shell. All right. We don't have enough time really for you guys to be able to build your own specific pages, because I think if you do like a web program, like a web course, it's usually like, I think UTSA just started one and it's 9 months long. So if you guys can just get familiar with the tags and then, expand your knowledge as usage kind of goes through. But as we start, every document has to have this first tag in here. All right, so we need that doc type HTML. We need this because the browser needs to know what type of document it's looking at. And this particular tag tells the browser that it's an HTML document. And since it's an HTML document, I am going to use it as such and display it as such. All right. The second tag in line 2, which you should have on every HTML page, although it's not really exactly necessary because you can kind of get away with it in some circumstances, but it's not really, it's frowned upon by not having one, is the actual HTML tag. All right. The HTML tag is simply the HTML inside the angle brackets. What we have here is, this is a little bit older construction because most browsers now are going to pick up based on where you are in the world and change your language that way. But for example, if you wanted to be doing your page in Spanish instead of English, you would just change from the EN to ES. And then everything could go into Spanish, place in English. All right, like I said, this is a little bit of a legacy type tag, but just be aware it's there. All right. So if we understand that the HTML document first has to declare it's a document and that first tag, and then it has to, all of our tags have to be within the HTML document, or the HTML tags. So in line 2 is our opening tag, and you scroll down the bottom here in line 52 is the closing tag. And you'll see the difference between an opening tag and a closing tag is, your opening tag is simply the type of tag with the angle brackets, and the closing tag is the angle brackets and then followed by a backslash and then the type of tag and then the angle bracket. So that's going to close out, tell the browser that that particular component is now closed. All right, so that's the end of our page. All right. So typically inside of your HTML document, you're going to have two other parts that are, some will say equally important, some will say one's more important than the other, but we'll just say they're kind of equal. The first one is the head portion, and the head portion is just delineated by the head tag, and then the second portion is your body tag. In this case, we have a class attribute of aluminum that's applied to this. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. But as you can see in line 4, head tag ends or starts, and in line 6 it ends. Line 9, body starts, and in 51, body stops. Okay, so the big differences between these two tags are that the head piece is where everything kind of works in the background. Okay, if you've ever done anything with trying to figure out how to make a web page show up on Google and show it up on #1, all of those little tricks, what they call search engine optimization, happens in this portion of your web page. So the only thing that needs to be inside the head is a title tag. Everything else is kind of superfluous, but in there you can have a meta tag that says, gives the author's name, another one that says the description, another one that says keywords. All of these things help Google or Yahoo or Ask Jeeves. Is Ask Jeeves still around? I don't know. AOL, all those old search engines. That's how they figure out what they're looking for on your web page. Okay, so there is usually with a website, there's another document that says robots.txt, and in that robots.txt it tells the bots that are sent out by Google and all the other search engines which pages to search. All right. So conversely, with the body tag, head is all in the background. The body is where everything in the browser is displayed. So if you want something in the browser to be displayed, it has to be in the body tag. If it's not in the body tag, it's not going to get displayed. All right. So you just think of the head, the brain. That's where all the work gets done in the background, and in the body, that's where all the muscle is, all the oomph, and that's where your web page is going to be built and shown to the world. Now, there are, billions upon billions. It's how many people in the world, and I'm sure everyone has 2 or 3 different ideas of how they think a web page should be designed. It is, there is no set standard. There is no big, mystery to anything. Typically speaking, you're going to have 3 different elements within a particular web page. Typically, you're going to have a header, which is most likely going to have your navigation. Sometimes it's just going to be called nav or navigation. You're going to probably have something that's stuck on the bottom, a footer. So again, we're going to have a footer tag here. And then stuff that's stuck in the middle in between those 2 things where all the real content is. Some people have sections that are out there. I mean, let's go over to W3 Schools and learn HTML. And where are my tags? Tag list. All right, so this is all of the tags in alphabetical order. So, I mean, in here, you're going to find, body is certainly in there, but there's sections. So some people put sections in there to, document of a group. Some people just use the div, which is our divisions of a page. Depending on what you have, maybe it's all just a form. Maybe it's a table. You know, a lot of the legacy web pages from like the 90s and early aughts, they were all built on tables. Today we use something that's a little bit similar but significantly different, and it's called kind of a grid system, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But basically, as long as you can work your HTML tags through CSS, your cascading style sheets, which we'll talk about in a second, to make them show up on the browser the way that you intend them to do, then everything's good. You succeeded, you know. I mean, that's really what, you know, the job that's there. Again, there's no set way, you know, maybe, but when we're going to talk a little bit about Bootstrap and their grid system, there are specific things that need to happen in there, but, you know, again, it's because they developed it, you know, outside on their own, and it's just a framework to help you, the developer, out. Okay, so as you can see, we have some divs here. The div tag is just short for division, just a breakdown of different areas, and you'll see this class attribute here. All right, so this class attribute allows us to take and group, not even, it doesn't even have to be the same type tag, but any tag that has this particular class, we can then group them together in our cascading, our style sheets in our CSS, and style them so they are all have the same properties, so that we can line them up correctly. They can have all the same text size, the same colors, and that kind of, all that good stuff. All right, and that's just class attributes. And I don't know if we have any right here. There's another attribute that I don't have on here. It is just simply, instead of class, it is ID, as in identification. And that's another, it's an identification attribute. It works a little bit different when we start talking about CSS, but it works exactly the same. But it also, but unlike where class doesn't necessarily work with JavaScript, the ID tag, our class attribute, the ID attribute does. So it works both with CSS and with JavaScript. So it's sometimes more advantageous to use that ID versus classes. All right. So a lot of the attributes that you see right now in these classes are ones that are actually part of the Bootstrap for framework. And we'll talk about each one as we get through them. I think the only thing that's in here that is different from that is on both this line 22 and on 26. All right. So what we have here is some style attributes. So what this is called is, this is what they call inline CSS. So this is basically, instead of being in the CSS file, it's just embedded into this tag. And it only is for this specific instance. It does not transfer to any other tag, even of the same type. So it doesn't do any other divs. It doesn't go with any of these other class attributes. It is specifically for this one instance on line 22. And this one here is specifically for this one instance on line 26. All right. Now, when we talk about CSS, and we'll talk about it more in a second, there are 3 ways to do it, and that's one of the 3 ways to translate your CSS through HTML to the browser. Okay. I'm just going to go back here. All right, so some of the tags that we used, HTML, the head tag, the body tag, header tag, and a footer tag, right? These are just some of the instances where you're typically going to see them as per the W3 Schools reference of all tags. Another one that you'll use quite significantly are the H1 through H6 tags. So that's H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. And those are your heading tags. So typically every page should have an H1 tag, because that H1 tag is, once again, important to Google and to Yahoo for your search engine optimization points. And then after that, it kind of breaks down. So actually in this README file, if we're actually, let me click right here. So this is Markdown language, vice markup, hypertext markup language, but this is the H1 for Markdown language, just one. That's H2, H3, and you can go all the way up to 6 pound signs to make it H6. But it works the exact same way that it works in HTML. All right. So depending on what the importance is, also how you want to style your page, you have that option to go and use anything from H1 to H6 with the last one that's typically used there, the P tag, which is just a paragraph. And also what occurs, unlike most of all the other tags that are out there, most browsers automatically have some type of styling for the P tags, automatically have styling for the H1 through H6 tags, and also usually for the A tag, so that it's kind of standard there. So, you know, back in the old day before they developed CSS, you just had, you know, some text on a page, and it would look very much like this. That, you know, on this README file, that's what your web page would look like. Just, you know, spotting information and maybe some links to other pages with information. So all those things were kind of, you know, built into the browsers back then, and they just have always maintained that same standards within those browsers. All right. So there's a couple other ones here. The A tag, this is important because this is where the A tag delineates a hyperlink. All right. So if you want to go to, you know, you want to post a link onto your page, it needs to be inside of an A tag. All right. Now, didn't really mention this, but we can stack tags within tags within tags. You know, so it's much like, you know, I have a tag on the inner part of my link. Outside of that, let's style it with a P tag. So outside of the opening tag of A is a P. Outside of the closing tag of A is a closing P. And just nested inside of each other. So we can do kinds of crazy, you know, styling stuff, and you know, sometimes it makes it easier to get the results that you want when you're able to nest those things inside of each other. And actually, when we start talking about the I tag, these ones down here, we can actually use them as, you know, nesting tags inside of like an I tag or a P tag or a tag to either bold text, emphasize. The EM actually makes it italicized, highlighting with a mark. If you want to put in footnotes with the site mark delineation, and then you can actually mark it as a dictionary term with the DFN tag. All right. Now we're going to use I tags a little bit differently in this case than the normal usage. We're going to use it with what they call font awesome, and font awesome is awesome, but it's, let me bring that up. This nice little tool here gives you all of those nice little icons that you find on web pages all over the place. You don't have to build them. You just find where, what the name of that icon is, what color you want it in, and then you can just put that in as a part of your HTML tags, and it'll show up as, here's our final page. There's our Facebook down the bottom here, our Instagram, our Twitter, and our LinkedIn. Those are right from Font Awesome. We can make them bigger, we can make them smaller, we can do whatever we want with them, but they're all right there for us. And we don't have to try to recreate them. We don't have to try to make create pictures and try to make pictures kind of work to make stuff the way we want them. That which is also comes out of Twitter is just another huge big boom to help you style stuff. And I think the last tag I really want to talk about is the image tag, because we're going to embed an image on our page, and that image is one of the only tags that does not have a closing tag. It is simply, it opens with image, and all of your information goes between the G and that closing angle bracket to pull up that image. And that's usually just a source file or source URL. Can be one of the two. All right, so class attributes. All right, and those, we talked about those a little bit. Those are your class and equals and input in the ID. I should probably stick that on there. All right, so if you click on this link here, the Bootstrap 4 layout, it brings us to this link here. All right, so this is what we used. It's just a, it's the way they use grid. Okay, so you're able to kind of manipulate just based on using their class attributes that they've already built in, and build grids kind of in any shape or form that you would like. There's always a way to figure that out. All right, and if we go back to our index file here, what we always have when we started out that grid system for Bootstrap is the class attribute called container and or container fluid. All right, they're both one and the same. The only difference is container fluid stretches from one end of the screen all the way to the far end of the screen, and has that entire, the entire structure covered. The container actually will only extend out to the actual size that you're asking it to be. Okay. In this case, containers based on the media sizes that are set up in Bootstrap 4 CSS file. If your screen is larger than 1200 pixels in width, that container is only going to be 1200 pixels. So again, depending on your style, you can either have a container or container fluid to start off your grid system, but just realize there's two different ones, and they do slightly different things. But again, depending on how you want it to look, how you want everything to work, you have a choice between those two. The second part of our grid is our row. All right, this is very important, as without a row, the third part of our grid, our columns, cannot work. We need to have the row for the columns to work. So going back to our grid, this is our row here, and this is a column. This is a column. This is a column, 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 column. All right. typically our columns, well, not typically, Bootstrap has created a 12-column grid. So you can have as many rows as you want, and now you can go and you can resize your the columns, but they're set at percentages in the CSS for Bootstrap. So, for example, we have column 8 here, and the medium, or the MD, means when we get to the medium width of a particular screen, and that medium, if you go and you take your browser and you kind of shrink it up, you see how they're all moving around, squishing down. That's what we want to have happen when our screen goes from, a 5K monitor down to a smartphone. We want everyone to have the same experience, but we understand that this person on the smartphone is not going to have the same pixel resolution that you're going to have on a 5K monitor. So what that's called responsive design, and that's built into the grid system for Bootstrap, is it's going to shrink those grids and stack them depending on what those breakpoints are. So there are 5 breakpoints in Bootstrap 4. The first one being XL for extra large. Large is LG, medium is MD, small is SM, and then XS. So yeah, that's 5, right? So depending on, so that first 1200 breakpoint is, when you're large, everything's going to be broken up. Okay, so let's find. So we have the columns of 6. Column of 6 is just your base piece. So as we shrink down our screen, we see our first break right here, and that break happens. These ones stay the same. R8 stays the same. All right, but when this is large, these are normal size. These columns are at 50%, but they have specifically broken these down so that when we get down to our medium size width of our screens, that column now is going to revert from a whole 50% to only 1/3 of the portion of that row. This is 2/3, 1/3. Here we have what was 18 across, really, and it's broken down into thirds, and then it's still half and half. And that half and half is going to keep staying as we shrink down lower and lower until it gets too small, and then they have to stack on top of each other. So that's what we're trying to intend our stuff to do.
So I understand that that's something that Bootstrap does automatically.
Yes.
But if you were using just a container instead of a container fluid, would it mess with that?
Nope. It's going to do, it does the exact same thing. It's just going to be just a little bit smaller because it won't, that container won't fill the entire screen.
Okay.
So this right here, so if you look, here are our containers down the bottom in the blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's a container fluid, and that's your normal container. And there are other size containers that we can kind of break down. So as we get smaller and smaller, large will be, as it gets smaller, see, they become fluid.
Mm-hmm.
As it gets smaller. I don't believe the container ever gets down to that point where it becomes fluid. Well, I guess it does if we get all the way down under small.
Okay.
Okay. So if you, let me, can you see my inspector when I pull that up?
Kind of. Not very well.
Okay.
It's small text, but I have glasses on.
Okay.
I'm blind and I don't have glasses. So.
Let me see. Where am I looking? Oh, layout. That's right. Okay. So you guys have seen this little box down here, this box model before in the bottom.
Mhm.
See if I can zoom into this. Okay. So you can think of this as the outer box is your container. And inside there are your rows and your columns. It's all kind of, you know, it's all built in and stacked onto each other. Whoa. All right, so we're going to go back here. Back. Oops. That's not where I want to go. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about CSS here. All right. So this is where all of the magic happens to make everything look pretty. And I kind of, so there's three ways we can do that. We can do it as we saw with its own inline CSS with just the style attribute. And we can style every single tag that we do specifically that way. Or we can use a sheet where we can do them all, you know, in like terms, right? So usually what happens if I want to, if I have a certain amount of P tags, for example, but in this one spot, I want my P tags to, instead of to be black, I want them to be white because they're going to be on, you know, like a dark blue background. I can create a class attribute for those specific P tags and then call that in CSS so that I can change the color specifically from black to white. And I would do that instead of, you know, in this case it's H1. So my H1s in this case are, you know, my attribute blue, or the property for blue, and then the value turns blue. Sorry, color blue. Can't even say it out. My selector and declarations. So your selectors are going to be the most likely going to be the tags that you're using in HTML. All right, but they can be either the tags themselves, the class attributes, or the ID attributes in CSS, and we'll talk about, we'll show you that in 1 second. And it's almost built sort of like an array, if you think of it that way. You know, you have the curly brackets to open up and to close. So your first, it's like a 2D array, this one here. So the first one is color and it's blue. So you could think of, you know, like if you had an H2, your color would be red maybe, and, you know, think of it that way. And then your font size, your property being, you know, 12 pixels. So here, what will happen, typically when you just type in your H1 and have something come up, it's going to come up always in black unless it's styled. And it's usually going to be somewhere about 30 to 36 pixels high. So we're telling it to get real small and a change color blue in this case. All right, so let's go and navigate to our style CSS sheet. So this is our cascading style sheets. All right, so for example, our H1 in this case, all we're having is font size. We're not changing colors specifically by tag. The only thing we're changing by tag is the font size. Now, there are 3 ways to do tag or sizes in CSS that are typically used, either by pixel size, so px. So then you have the estimated measurement, I want to say. I wrote this down. I threw out the name sheet. But the EM is basically 1 EM is 16 pixels. It just makes it a little easier for you to work with and to do ratios and stuff like that. The third one is REM, which is relative. So where the EM is a set height or width or whatever, the RM is relative to the item that's next to it. So if, for example, I had a H1 tag, and then I wanted to put an icon from Font Awesome next to it, and I said my font size is going to be 3 EMs high. So we can multiply 3 times 16, and we get 70. What's that? 74, 64, somewhere in there, maybe. Sounds right. 64 sounds right, but either way, everyone's got a calculator. You can figure it out on your own. But if I did next to it, and then I put, so for example, like 2 RM or REM for the relative size of the icon, I can kind of shape it based on the size of the font. And what that would help me out with is, for example, right now, the way that I have styled this sheet is no matter what, when our sheet gets smaller and goes to a cell phone size, it's always going to remain at 3 EMs high. So it's always going to be large, right? The RMs help us kind of make those relative links in size. So I only have to change one thing instead of many things when I'm trying to style for responsive design. Okay, so let me look. So in here, you'll see lots of properties, and again, we can go over to our CSS. Define, advanced tables. I don't know if we're going to be able to find all of them. But I mean, these are just, what you can use on buttons, for example. There's so many, different properties that are going to, you're going to be able to change just with the CSS. Max width, display, I mean, just tons. So every single tag has only a certain number, HTML tags only has a certain number of CSS properties that'll actually work with it. So you can't necessarily put, 100 properties on a specific tag. I mean, in theory you could, but not all of them are going to work because they're not all, most of those properties probably aren't set for that specific tag. All right. So sometimes when you're trying to find, you want to make something, this height, this tall, or this wide, or something like that. Sometimes there's, the little finesse that you have to kind of play with around to figure out exactly which width you want. When it says width, is it font width? Is it, border width? Is it, content width? Sometimes you just have to play around and get it to work correctly. I wish it would. I mean, there's all kinds of cheat sheets, but there's so much in there, it's kind of hard to figure out. But one of the good things is once you create, you know, a decent CSS style sheet, you can kind of reuse them all the time. So, you know, once you you get a style that you kind of like, you can continue to use them. You can change the colors up in them, and but you don't have to keep creating the wheel over and over and over again. So it just kind of makes life sometimes a lot easier, right? The only other thing in here is this here, all right? So that important declaration. So that's a exclamation point with important before the closing semicolon. So what that is supposed to do, and this is kind of, it's supposed to override what text align might be in, for example, your Bootstrap CSS file. Because your Bootstrap CSS file is going to have precedence over your own CSS file. It's just how it's kind of built on top of each other. So if you need to override something that's in a vendor or outside CSS file that you're using, you have to use the important declaration to kind of override that. And that works both in CSS and I don't know if we'll get to it this summer, but if you've ever heard of SAS or SCSS, which are a little bit, it's the same stuff essentially, but it's, it works more programmatically than cascading style sheets do. It's, that important declaration just will override that stuff. And so when you're kind of building out your website, and you might be building it, bringing in third-party information for, maybe I want to have, this carousel or this slider that this website has. So I know it's open source over on GitHub. I pull it in. It's going to come with its own HTML. It's going to come with its own JavaScript. It's going to come with its own CSS. So you may have to override some of the CSS functions that are already embedded in there to get it to style the way that you want it to. So that's what that import does. All right. I think that's pretty much so that's our second piece of where our CSS can go. So we have inline, so right on the tags, we have in its own CSS file, and the third and final spot where it can go is we can take and we can copy that entire style, that style CSS file, and we can stick it right here in our head document, in our head. We just go style. Open and close it. And I can take that entire document and I can paste it right inside there. And all of that information will automatically populate our HTML. And you say, well, why don't we do that? Because it's all in the same file. Well, because it's all in the same file. So it would be cool if your website only had one page. But if you have a second page, now I have to copy that entire thing and put it into the head tags on the second page too. Here I can share when it's on a separate document. If it's on the page, it's only stuck on that one page. That's why. But if you only have one page, again, easy to do. Yes, I'm going to leave the page. All right. So our last part of our little journey into our three parts is going to be JavaScript. And JavaScript makes things go and move. All right, so if you have a button you want to have pushed and have something happen, if you have a menu item that you want to have work, or if you want, that slider or carousel on your web page to work and go round and round and shoot different pictures, JavaScript does that for you. All right, it's what makes the action of your website happen. All right, There are other means to do that. You can kind of do that with PHP sometimes, but that's on your server side. It's not on your front end. So, JavaScript is where it's been. It's pretty much since '96 when Microsoft said, "Yeah, we'll let JavaScript exist." It's yes. Go ahead, Jesse.
So PHP is server side and JavaScript is client side.
Typically, yes.
Typically.
Now,
Okay.
yes. Now with Node.js and Express, and there are now libraries that pretty much transcend all of not only the web but also mobile and other desktop applications that are JavaScript based. But originally, it was only on the server side. All right. So when you want stuff to work on your web page, it's still on the server side. You still have a script that's called by the browser. It's not called, not usually pulled back from the server. All right. So let's get a little bit into this here. All right. So I kind of broke this down. All right. So you'll find that we have a shell of an index file, right? But if you go into the components folder, either in your VS code or onto this and through this repository, you're gonna find a bunch of additional HTML files. All right, some of them I did HTML, I didn't move. So the first piece here is just the nav bar. So this is what a nav bar looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of paste together back our index file, and as we go and we do that, we'll get everything to get up and working correctly, so that you have a nice little working web page. Sound like a deal? All right. So let's go to our index file. All right. So the first thing we need our head information. Okay. So I'm going to, I should have done this a second ago. Let's go back and forth. All right. So we're going to first go into our head HTML. Okay. And in here, we basically have 3 tags. We have a meta tag for our character set, a meta tag for our viewport width, and then our title tag. All right. So we're going to go copy this entire piece. If you want to take the comments, that's fine. We're going to take it and we're going to put it right here in our head section. I'm going to start putting this back together.
I wasn't. Can you go back to where the individual components? Okay, never mind.
In the components folder of the it should be in the original clone folder. Got him? Okay. All right. So the only thing that we need to do after we paste that in here is that line 6 comment here, where it says replace this comment with your first and last name. Go ahead and put your first and last name in there, because it's going to be important, because what's going to happen is that title then is going to be what's going to be seen in the tab of your browser. And since we want this to be a personalized page, we're going to do it that way with our name. Turn on my light. It's getting way dark again. All right. So let's go from there. Let's go into the navbar file. Let's go ahead and let's grab that entire thing, copy it over, cut it out, and we're going to put it in somewhere around line 12. No, not line 12, sorry. Where do I have that? Oh, yeah, I'm right. Line 12, somewhere around line 12 in between the header tags. So you can just right over that comment and paste it in. All right, so once you do that, let's go over to the Git selection on your VS Code. Go ahead and stage and commit, and then push to. And push it up to your GitHub page, to the GitHub repository. And once that's done, this is going to be the crazy part now. I'm going to go to HTTPS. And navigate to that link there, which is basically your repository name. And you should see, hopefully, a nav bar at least. Anything show up, Jesse?
Not yet. It's Git. I must have done something wrong with Git. Let me try a few things. Stage all changes. Wait on that.
Commit.
Commit. Oh, I did put a message.
Oh, just do initial commit. That's what I kept doing.
And then push to origin.
And when you push to,
Okay, now let's refresh. Come on. Oh, so close. Come on. It says 333 20 seconds ago. So close. It's there, but I don't. It didn't change. Oh, because I'm on the README. The README is first. That's why. But it's there. It's uploaded.
okay. And if you navigate to copy your repository and put it in the address bar in a new tab. You have a nav bar.
It shows the README. It doesn't show the index.html. I can show you again. Want me to share screen or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So the index has all the code in it, and then it shows the README instead of the index. But I'm at the URL.
No. So go back, click up to the URL. Go up to your URL. In front of Jesse Blogger. Yeah, take that part. And delete everything in front of it. No, so get rid of GitHub.com and your URL. And that first slash.
Oh, that's a little embarrassing. Now I know what you're saying. Okay. Okay. Let me look at the chat so I could just see your outline. I thought I was being smart and I wasn't.
Oh.
Is it? Let me stop sharing so I could see
right.
the. Okay, I'm gonna do this again. Wow. that look right?
Yes, that looks perfect.
Okay, cool.
Not perfect, but yeah, so it looks exactly how it's supposed to look right now because you don't have any CSS.
Cool.
All right. Perfect. All right. So let's go. We're going to do now. Let's take card number 1. And let's take card number 1 and paste it into,
I'm going to show your screen.
yeah, somewhere around line 23. Let me get to, where's my share screen? All right. So we're going to take card number 1. This one right here. Take that and I'm going to paste it right into this line here, line 23. And go ahead and do the same stuff, save, stage, commit, push. And then look at your page again. Still probably looks messy, huh? So
It's
why
taking,
would,
it's
was
taking
that?
a little, it's
Yeah.
taking a little time for some reason. Let me try it again.
Yeah, that's fine.
Stay all, commit all. Okay, cool. And then push 2.
Is your name showing up on the tab on your Explorer?
Yeah, it shows in the tab.
Yeah, look at
there
that.
it is. It says Leonard Box Web Developer. There you go.
All right, so let's go. Let's grab the links and let's make this kind of look pretty. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the links here. You get 4 lines. We're going to copy those all up. We're going to go back up to our head tag. So for me, this is up here above the body. Yours is going to be a couple of a couple lines further down. So after the title tag closes, go ahead and paste in those 3 lines of style sheets. Then again, save, stage, commit, push. And hopefully it comes up now. It looks kind of pretty.
Every time I push, it takes a minute. I don't know why, but we'll see. Refresh.
That's all right.
Not yet. Okay, what's going on?
That's fine. Now you're gonna. I think you're missing a file because you don't have the CSS, the style CSS in your folder.
Okay.
So you still have the folder from the original clone?
Yeah, it doesn't have style, so I have to go to the original clone and get
Drag
it.
over.
Okay, cool. Where's the original?
That's just going to be in your main folder.
Is it okay if I just download it from the workshop repository page?
Yeah, or you can just create a new file and copy it in.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what I'll do. That's
Either
what I was
way,
thinking.
I don't know. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You know, doesn't matter either way.
Raw. Yeah, raw. And then make a new one. Let's see what happens when I refresh. Whoa, big change.
All right.
Yeah. Mine looks a little whack, but it actually looks better.
That's all right. Okay. So if you go up to the head information, into the head tags, so those links that we put in there, those 4 links, just so the first one is to the local file, is referencing the local folder, and that's where your style.css is. It's referencing that file, period. That's all it's doing. It's right there in the local folder. All right. The next 3 are all CDNs. So those are the content distribution nodes. So the first one is the CDN for Bootstrap CSS. So instead of saving it in our file and having to call back and forth all the time, it's just going straight to that link and pulling the CSS right from that link. We have another one that's going back to Google for the Roboto text family. I don't even know if we're using that in this. And then the last one is going back to the CDN for Font Awesome, which is all your little icons that we'll get to in a minute too.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
All right. So when you get down there, let's go. So starting around line 43 or so, you get that first F2. It's card title. Or actually, let's even start. You got your nice little head page there that I saw on GitHub, right? Do you have a copy of that?
Yeah, I have a few professional pictures of myself. I could use whichever. I'll put the one on Jesse Blogger first. On the I use
so
that
if you
one.
put that into your local folder.
I'll edit it later. Okay, desktop. Yeah, is PNG okay?
Yep, works perfectly well.
Profile.png.
So on and around line 41 is that image tag. You'll see there's no closing tag. All right. Right now, the source file is set up for, I think I might have mine in there. I don't know if I took it out or not. Oh, I think it's just a pound sign, right?
Huh?
There's a pound sign where it says SRC and then equals and the 2 quotation marks.
Yeah, I'm there. I just replaced it and put it in the same folder.
Okay.
See if that works.
So replace the pound sign there on that line with the name of the image.
The pound? What do you mean pound though?
So on line 41 of the index .html, is that line 41? Do you have an image tag there?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So
yeah,
you have the class, and then you have the SRC, the source, and then inside the source equals double quotes, and then it has a pound sign.
It's the same as what's on your screen. I thought pound was the hashtag.
Yeah, hashtag.
Mine. Oh, okay. Let me look.
So
No,
either
mine
way,
doesn't have a pound. It's just exactly the same as yours.
okay. So what we want you to do is change what I have there to the name of your file.
Okay, yeah, done.
Okay. And then you can change it all to your name or whatever. Okay. So go ahead and you go down and change your name on line 43 or so,
Yes,
you know,
I steal your identity today.
yeah,
No.
whatever you want to do as a job, doesn't matter. You throw in your email. I use the old,
Student developers is nice.
I use the old 8675309. Yeah, 8675309 phone number because I don't want to find my own phone number up there.
That's like violate someone's privacy and put.
God, you don't even have to have that line on there, but.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. 8204.
You can always, so.
No, I am putting my information just because I want to see it.
Right.
Sweet. Okay, I got it. Languages. English.
Yeah. That's Java, JavaScript, Swift, PHP. So you can put in whatever you want. I mean, I know most people say those little bars don't mean crap to anyone. So, but that was just kind of the style that was on the draft that I had. So,
If I disconnect, the power went out. There's a lot of thunder.
Oh, okay.
But hopefully that won't happen.
All right. You're telling me it's coming to me in the future.
Yeah. I'm downtown.
Yeah, I'm south of the city, so. So that, and whatever you want there. For the tools, whatever you want to put down, just, you kind of go with what you have on your resume too. This is just suggestions, but you'll see that the way that this is the lines are built underneath Java, for example, it goes, I have width at 90% in that inline style, and then it's listed as 90% to be typed to be shown inside the bar. So if you wanted to change that to say for 100%, you would just change both those 90s to 100 or 75 or 15, whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool. Doing it right now.
So.
Commenting out a few parts just because I don't know that many languages yet.
It's all right. And, like I said, this, you don't actually have to keep it that way, but it's just, one way to throw it up there.
Yeah, can't put Spanish at this moment, but okay.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, poco.
Poquito.
Yeah. Listo. Ready.
And you can see, like right above the next to languages in that menu, there's that globe.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the code, that globe is the FA-globe, and that's coming right from Font Awesome. FA is Font Awesome.
Oh, cool. Font Awesome.
So if you went over to the Font Awesome page, so it's just fontawesome.com, and let's say, what do we want? We'll search the language. So here are some, well, here, you can do globe for the Americas, or you can go globe for Europe, or you can just, change it up a little bit. There's a bunch of different things that you could put on there.
And you just put a dash globe.
To get the.
You use this one over here. Yeah, globe right there. Okay, FA dash and whatever.
Yep. You just put like the dash and markers at the end. So
I'm going to put that in the comments, actually, in that area. Where is it? There it is. A little comment. You can't put comments within text. Didn't know that.
no, I can't put it in there. No, because it's its own tag.
You hear it? The thunder?
No.
Okay, that's fine. All right, let's go.
All right. So then, basically, all we need to do now is you can go back to the components folder and grab the rest of those cards and paste them in. So I have card 2, I think, is education. 3 is job experience. 4 is volunteer work.
Okay, I'll put in all the cards.
And the last one would be footer. So there's like, you know, those 4 things. Just open and copy and paste.
All the cards first, I guess.
Yeah, either way you want to go. And we'll talk about the grid once you have those up. Once you get the 4 cards in, let me know, and then we'll talk about the grid.
I'm on card 3. Stop, which is nice.
Mainly just a Python guy.
Pipeline, what do you mean?
Is that your main language?
Oh, Python. Python. You know, I think the lag made it sound like you said pipeline.
Oh,
But yeah, Python because of Dr. Muhammad. He really sold Python with me, man. And I know it better than Java, but for some reason A&M uses Java a lot. So I might have to change. I don't know.
have you done your programming fundamentals already? Or?
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, you even did 3, huh?
Yeah, because I want to do the Masters of Computer Science next
Okay.
year. But dude, I hope I can do it. We'll see. I want to do it good. All right, I did the 4th card.
Okay. Go ahead and push that up and let's.
Okay, let's push it.
Yeah. So you'll see mine. You can see mine too. We'll talk it. Yours should look pretty much exactly like mine.
Ooh, I hope so. Except with the different, yeah, everything.
Yeah. I mean, you just fill in the blanks once. All right. So our grid is built with, you know, we actually have 3 containers. The first container is our header, and the third is our footer, and those are both fluids. And then we have a container that holds our cards. And I think those are fluid. That's a fluid too. All right. But it's not colored or, you know, it's transparent. It's not, it's just there as structure for us. Okay. So we have, the way that it's built is, so all of our content here is one container at fluid size. Inside that first container is only 1 row. Okay, so all of this all these 4 components, these 4 cards, are all in one row.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so this
That's
first one, this first part takes up 4 columns of our 12, and then this section takes up 7 parts of our column. So it's total of 11, and then there's space in between to give it that kind of 3D effect.
cool. So this is basically how Bootstrap works with grids.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we were to put this 4 and 8 together, it would be all mushed. So you wouldn't have that space. But we just kind of styled it a little bit differently, so you had that space in between, kind of give
Yeah,
it,
it's
more.
still a little bit mysterious to me. It's still a little bit like, oh, I don't really get it, but
Yeah.
I really like the way it looks, and I get the concept of containers and grids, and the fact that some of those are one row and multiple columns.
Right. So as you see in like the base stuff, so 17 is the container, 19 is the row, 22 is 4 columns across, 26 is 7 columns across. And then we go down, this closes, closes, and closes, and that closes our grid. Now, inside of our 7 columns, so that's our sub piece. So this right here, so all these 3 new cards that you just put in with the education, work experience, and volunteer experience, each of those cards is on one row. And
What's a card in this case?
what's that?
What's a card in this case? Sorry, I'm still a little behind.
So card is it's just a part of the Bootstrap construction, and it's just this white outline.
Okay. And that's Bootstrap lingo.
Yes. Yeah, that's
okay.
A Bootstrap component.
Oh, okay, component. Yes, gotcha.
Okay. So straight across the entire screen, we have 12 columns, 4 for the first section of cards, which is the picture, your name, and the languages and stuff. That long one here. Then we have the 7, which are the education, work experience, and volunteer experience.
So the vertical column, the vertical card on the left, is that actually 1, 2, 3 cards, or is it just one big card?
1 card.
So that means there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cards?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Got it.
Okay. So, but what we did here is on the section of 7 columns, which has those 3 cards inside of it, we then went, and you can see that depicted right here. So here's our 7, and we created a row underneath. So now the 7 is broken up into 3 rows. And because Bootstrap works on 12 columns, now there's 12 columns on those 3 rows. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me read the code a little bit just so I can understand a little more.
Okay.
So 2, 3, and 4, those cards are in that row you're talking about.
They're each in their own specific row. And if you look at the top of those cards, where it has card in the column, medium 12.
Yes, okay, I get it now. Yeah.
So it stretches across that row 12 columns. Now that row doesn't stretch across the whole screen. It only stretches across the original 7 columns. So we have a grid inside of a grid, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So that's how we set it up, so that all of those 3 additional cards on the right all line up together.
Okay.
So they're all on their own row.
Cool.
They're all on their own individual rows, and they stretch across the entire 7 original column spaces, but actually hold, 12 sub column spaces inside that 7. And then we have 3 sub rows inside that additional column. All right. And all of this, so all of this is all in one row. So it's 1 by 12. We broke down the first card is 4, next one's 7, and then there's a offset of 1. So there's space for 1 more column that's out there used for the spacing in between the cards by margins. Inside that additional 7 columns, we built another grid with 3 rows, 12 across. And inside of that, those grids is a card that's 1 row tall, 12 across. 1 row tall, 12 across. And they're stacked on top of each other.
Wow.
And now what we
Yeah. Yeah, at this point, I won't understand all of it, but I do understand most of it. So I think I'll settle for that.
that's fine.
Because it was a lot to take in, especially the just introducing Bootstrap and everything.
All right.
It was a lot. I'm
So what
glad
we
to
have
understand
here
it.
too is on this third card, on the first card, see how the bottoms are equal distance on the bottom?
Say again, I'm sorry.
So see how so the first column on the left, the bottom card is stretched down to the bottom of the third card on the right.
I didn't get that. I don't know if it was because I didn't hear it or because I don't understand.
They're on the same plane. They're on the same line.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're level. So
yeah, they're level on mine.
yeah, so we did that with, if we go back up to line 22 or so. So so the first card, it says card column MD4, and then it has a additional one that says align self stretch.
Okay.
So what we told it to do, that card, is to be as tall as what's to the right.
Okay, cool, cool.
So if you added another row under the 7 here and made a 4th row and put more information in there in a new card,
Yeah.
that row on the left would still go down to the very bottom.
Oh, cool, cool.
So just little grid tricks.
Card 1 is the one at the bottom though, right?
Card 1 is the one on the left.
Okay, gotcha. And then okay, yes, I had it backwards in my head, but yeah, I get it.
All right.
I got it before, but now I get it more. There you go.
So last thing I want to do, and then we'll get out of here, is, do you have the footer pasted in yet?
No, I don't. I was wondering because yours was a little different.
Yeah, let's get the footer pasted in, and then we'll finish up.
I'm slurring. Okay, footer. Slurring means sleepy. Okay. Footer. Okay. Where do I put the footer? Footer class.
Footer tags down the bottom.
Okay. Inside the footer tag, right?
Yep. Just over that comment there. So it should be like 5 or 6 lines.
Yeah, got it. Stage. Commit. Always commit. I remember that. Always commit. If you don't commit,
Never happened.
it never happened. All right.
All right.
It always
So
takes a minute.
in the code, So somewhere around line 155 or so,
Mhm.
you should have the first font awesome icon, which should be Facebook.
Okay, I see what you mean. All right. Yes, but let me see if it loads yet. For some reason, it always takes a little while.
That's fine. It doesn't matter if it loads
Is it
in,
loaded? Okay, I got it.
because we're going to change a couple things here.
Okay.
All right. So I'm sure you have a Facebook page, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you go ahead to your Facebook page, to your actual profile page, and copy that URL
Oh, okay, gotcha.
and stick that in, and instead of just facebook.com, and just for the rest of them too.
All right. Let's check my Instagram. I uninstalled all my social media.
Yeah.
They're handbreakers, I'm telling you.
So, but then there you go, and so that's how you put in, the actual link. You can see that that line is an actual A tag
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, A tag, href.
with
Yeah.
I tag nested inside the A, that I tag being the icon.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay. And the icon ends up being clickable.
yes,
And then hover opacity makes it to where it goes a little bit opaque with the hover.
yes.
Cool. Ooh, thunder.
And once you have put your Facebook in there and pushed it up again,
Okay, and we'll test it. Yes, let's
yeah,
do that.
two
Save.
things that should happen. Number one, a new tab should open.
It's a race against the thunder. Every night recently, I've been losing. Every night it rained, I lost power. And
Oh,
the lights are flickering. It's like a horror. Okay.
we lost it. What was that, Saturday night?
Yeah, man, it was.
Saturday was a big one for us. We lost it for like 4 hours.
Yeah. It always takes a little bit to. So right now, it goes to facebook.com though.
Okay.
Oh, it went to my profile. Awesome.
All right.
I got followers too. I don't know from where, but that's nice.
And it opened up in a new tag, yes? A new tab?
Yeah, it did.
So if you go back to that line of code where it says target equals underscore blank.
That line of code. Can you put it with your mouse and looking at the screen? Target equals blank. Okay. Yeah, it says blank.
So that means it's going to open up in a new tab.
Oh, okay, cool. Very nice.
So if you wanted to stay on the same page, you would just take that, take that little bit off. All right. And then the very last thing here is that last line, that paragraph line where it says copyright.
Uh-huh.
And you just change your name there. Okay.
Got it. Done.
So this is the way the law works. Okay. If you say that your work is copyrighted, it's copyrighted.
Oh, especially if you made it yourself.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So once you put your name on there, if someone comes and tries to steal it, then
Yes, I've stolen your resume, sir.
yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, gotcha.
But that's usually, when you have a client and stuff that
You there? Oh, okay.
I think that's pretty much about it.
I have.
Yes,
Can I show you two things?
sure.
Let me share it. All right. I'm gonna stop sharing your site. Okay, here we go. So I got this little thing right here, and
Yeah,
then this
that's the
little.
logo. So you just need to find a logo for your site.
Oh, and by logo, is that somewhere up here? I just I'm actually gonna use this, so you know,
So
when I get better, I'm gonna edit this all crazy.
so line 25.
25. This one. This right here, right?
Yep, you just need to find the source. So see where the alt says pound
Pound.
or hashtag, whatever you want to say.
Also know the what pound means.
That's a pound sign. Hashtags.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I thought. Oh, there it is. Source. Oh, okay. Yes,
So
I see.
alt. So if you change alt where it says has the hashtag
Okay.
right now, and you say you just type in like Jesse. Okay, now save and
Gotta wait like a little bit. I really want to keep learning how to do this stuff. I'm trying. Yeah, it'll be good. Okay, and then refresh. Okay, it always takes a little bit.
okay.
Oh, see, there's the hashtag. There it is.
Yeah, so it'll eventually go change to Jesse.
So it's loading right there. Okay, finished.
Mm,
I might do it again just to.
And if you go to your line 6 on there too, well, go back to your webpage. Yeah, so you go to the webpage real quick before you save anything. See the Q?
Yeah. Can I actually fill these in? The portfolio, the blog, the contact. The...
All right. So what I would suggest to you, if you're continuing on in this, is this. So typically speaking, the homepage of your site will be index.html.
Right.
All right. So let's go back to your Video Studio Code. All right, and let's go to your Explorer where your files are. All right, go ahead and copy the index file.
Copy.
Yep, and then paste. And rename it index-copy to resume. No, just resume.
Oh.
Okay, now go back.
Like,
go back and send that up to the nether regions.
okay.
You know that's going to be on there, right?
Yeah, that's the only way I'll know.
Well,
okay.
It's not going to be there yet because you haven't pushed it up.
Oh. Yeah.
Or you can go to your Explorer too.
Oh, resume is empty for some reason. What's going on? Oh, can I edit and read only? Okay, I'll just.
Yeah, go over to the Explorer window. Double click on index. Now click on resume.
Okay. Well, the holy moly isn't there.
Right. Yes.
And that'll work. Yeah, I get it. Cool.
So now you can just go and you can figure out a new homepage that you like.
And that'll be the resume. Yeah. Okay. And then
this is your resume page. So you can keep this as your resume page. You can start a blog if you want.
Yes. What I want to do is just a bunch of stuff. I got a whole bunch of ideas. I got to organize them.
But if you want to get, this is going to be a static website.
Yeah.
That's what you're allowed to host there. So. you want to get funky with Flask or with a, Angular or React, then you're going to have.
Yeah, I like getting funky with Flask. But
Then you're going to
this
have to get onto a actual hosting service.
this, oh my gosh, where is it? Oh, okay. I'm gonna go back. It's like hard to get to the top. Let's see. This one, right? No, this one, this one. Sorry, give me one moment. Let me look it up. This. All right. It's a little embarrassing. Okay, so this website that says jesseblogger.github.io, what is that? Is this some kind of GitHub profile page or something?
This is your GitHub page, GitHub pages.
So that means that, see, I thought this was my GitHub page.
Nope. That's your GitHub profile page.
So do most professional developers have one of, see this thing up here, one of these as well as one of these?
So most of them usually because you get one, you only get one. So they'll usually use it as kind of like advertising their products sometimes.
Okay.
So,
but sometimes use it as like a portfolio resume type of thing too.
Right.
Okay.
So if you were to go open up a new tab.
It'd be cool if I could give you control somehow.
So in the chat there, go ahead and
okay, in the chat.
To Furies. So
yeah.
David Velez.
Learn how to check the chat while sharing. I mean,
no, you have to.
Oh, David, yeah, he's so nice. It said 404.
It said 404.
For the get, yeah.
No.
But I could just look at yours. Let's see.
Yeah, you can look at mine. But...
L-Box or what is it? Leonard?
Oh, that's why I did it wrong. There it is. I did it wrong. That's not his username. There it is. That's his username.
So I can make I want, huh? Cool. Nice. This looks good.
So that's his.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Holy smokes. I want that experience.
Now,
so cool.
if you go to...
I like the scrolling on the right.
Oh,
and it highlights on the left. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, wow.
So if you go to your settings
Setting
for your repository and scroll down to get the GitHub Pages area.
On my repository, give me a moment.
I'll share my screen, am I not? I don't know. I don't think I am in there.
Okay, I'm going to have to look it up. Repositories. And then settings, which I'm there. Okay.
Let me get to...
I'm at settings.
All right. So down to GitHub Pages. Where am I here?
Okay, I'm there.
So you can, if you have like, Jesse Guerrero or whatever.com, you can actually put in that actual domain and host it here.
I'll try it. I have one domain.
Is it already in use?
Yeah. Oh, I have to make it open.
Yeah. Yeah. So
like I have to have a domain open. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more than just that. So, but then you can do it custom with, your name.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, man, I'm on. You haven't seen my blog, right?
No.
Anyway, yeah. I like to show it off, but maybe another time.
So, what are you using right now?
WordPress.
WordPress. Ugh.
Yeah, because I didn't know HTML or CSS. Let me show it to you. Like right now, I want to convert when I'm able to type for more hours. I want to convert my website, jesseblogger.com. I want to convert this to Flask. So I should have switched articles in About Jesse, but haven't typed in a long time. But yeah, and this is all in WordPress, and it'd be so cool to change it to Flask and make an automatic poster where all I do is I write it, put the pictures in. See, there you go. That's it.
All right. I'm going to stop recording.